You know, I usually stay out of these conversations, but with Caitlin Clark, I can't stay silent anymore.
When the greatest to ever play the game speaks, the world listens. This time, it wasn't Michael Jordan's own career. In the spotlight, it was Caitlin Clark. The young phenom has been rewriting the story of women's basketball, shot by shot, and Jordan made sure everyone knew it. In a moment that stunned the crowd and left Clark visibly moved, MJ delivered a heartfelt tribute that went far beyond simple praise. His words lit up the arena, drawing a standing ovation and cementing this as a moment for the history books. So, what exactly did Jordan say that had everyone on their feet? This is the story of Michael Jordan's salute to Caitlin Clark and the unstoppable rise of a new basketball star. When Michael Jordan steps into the spotlight, it's never by accident, it's a statement. And when that rare focus shifts toward a WNBA rookie, the sports world pays attention. Jordan has spent decades shaping his legacy in the men's game through ownership, branding, and global influence while offering quiet support for women's basketball from afar. But when he speaks about a young star like Caitlin Clark, it's more than a compliment. It's a redefinition of what greatness looks like. Clark isn't just putting up big numbers, she's reshaping the WNBA's reach and reputation. Her debut season has shattered attendance records, boosted TV ratings to all-time highs, and turned Indiana Fever games into sold-out spectacles, drawing over 1 million viewers each night. But her influence runs deeper than the stats. In cities where her games are televised, youth basketball programs are exploding, camps are packed. Young girls aren't just picking up a basketball to play there, picking it up to be noticed, to make noise, and to dream bigger than ever before. That kind of influence mirrors what Jordan once did for the men's game. In the 90s, he didn't just dominate the scoreboard, he redefined what a basketball player could mean to the world. Now, his Jordan brand is quietly building stronger ties with WNBA stars, adding a new dimension to his legacy. The business side of his empire is evolving, recognizing the rising commercial power and cultural impact of elite women athletes. The question is no longer if the women's game matters, it's how fast its value is skyrocketing. And at the center of that surge is Caitlin Clark. So when Jordan speaks about a player like Clark, it's never offhand. His rare statements carry weight enough to make both fans and brands sit up and take notice. It's not just praise, it's a signal. And when Michael Jordan sends that signal, it's nearly impossible for the sports world to look away. It's a unique kind of cultural handoff, not quite mentorship, but something far more powerful than a simple endorsement. Clip 3. Social media has supercharged this crossover energy. Recognition no longer lives only on award stages or in ESPN highlight reels. Now, platforms like Instagram and TikTok give athletes the power to connect, instantly sharing support, sparking conversations, and breaking down barriers between leagues and genders. In that space, Jordan's nod to Clark wasn't a quiet gesture, it was a lightning bolt. The moment spread across feeds, headlines, and timelines, turning into a digital wave that reached far beyond basketball circles. Brands didn't take long to notice. Joint campaigns featuring male and female athletes are no longer just about visibility. They're about creating synergy. It's a strategy that allows fans to picture basketball greatness without limits. As more companies embrace this vision, we're seeing legends and newcomers share the spotlight in ways that blend history with the future. And sometimes, as with Jordan and Clark, the most powerful validation comes in just a few words because the weight behind them says it all. Just when it seemed Michael Jordan's words couldn't be topped, two more basketball icons stepped forward with praise of their own: Larry Bird and Shaquille O'Neal. Larry Bird, never one for grand public gestures, delivered a comment that carried more weight than volume. In his trademark, understated way, he admitted that last season, he found himself watching Iowa games almost as often as he watched his alma mater, Indiana State, the school that launched his legendary career decades ago. For someone like Bird, who chooses his words carefully, that was no small statement. Bird has never been swayed by hype. He values the fundamentals, the grind, the vision, the decision-making, and Caitlin Clark's game mirrors those very traits. Her deep shooting range, sharp instincts, and control over the pace of play reflect the same qualities that once defined Bird himself. For old-school legends to place women's basketball on their personal radar is rare, and Bird's nod spoke volumes. Then came Shaquille O'Neal, flamboyant, outspoken, and fiercely loyal. From the start of Clark's WNBA career, his loyalty was firmly with Angel Reese, a player he's championed for years. But as Clark continued to perform with poise, confidence, and a masterful command of the game, something changed. It wasn't the headlines that swayed him, it was what he saw with his own eyes. And when Shaq finally addressed it publicly, the shift in tone was unmistakable. "Now, I'm not Shaq, I'm a fan," he admitted, dropping his larger-than-life persona for a moment of pure honesty. He didn't just label Caitlin Clark as good, he broke down why. Shaq praised her playmaking, her ability to create chances, and how she elevates everyone around her. He pointed out that her choices on the court weren't just flashy, they were the right ones. Having played alongside legends, Shaq knows the difference between short-lived hype and lasting greatness. And in Clark, he saw the latter. What made his praise even more striking was how naturally it came despite his earlier loyalty to another player. There was no hesitation. He noted that TV cameras can distort how a player looks, but said Clark's game was even better. In person, her movement, her shot selection, her leadership. It all translated. Shaq wasn't looking for a headline. He was genuinely impressed by her control, intelligence, and maturity on the floor. And he made it clear what she's doing is far from ordinary. Recognition from icons like Bird and Shaq isn't just a compliment, it's a sign that the way women's basketball is evaluated is changing. Their respect isn't sentimental. It's grounded in basketball logic, built from years of breaking down what makes a player elite. But as the praise from legends echoed, a shockwave hit Team USA left Caitlin Clark off the Olympic roster. For Clark, it wasn't the kind of silence that fills an empty arena, it was the heavy, personal kind that sits in your chest when your name is missing from the list. She had handled pressure before, but this carried a different weight. It wasn't just about missing one tournament. It was the message it sent, a decision that stunned fans and critics alike. A player who had reignited interest in women's basketball, packed arenas, and lifted TV ratings was being left out of the sport's biggest stage. While many saw it as unthinkable, not everyone considered it a setback. Dwight Howard, an NBA veteran who knows both the peaks and bruises of the game, saw it as a challenge. "This should make her go harder in the gym," he said bluntly. No sugarcoating, no sympathy, not as a dismissal of her disappointment, but as a push-in opportunity to turn frustration into fuel. Dwight Howard wasn't looking back, he was looking forward. He'd seen this story before. Great players left off big stages, only to return with a vengeance that made the world regret the snub. He expected nothing less from Caitlin Clark, and maybe, just maybe, being left off the Olympic roster gave Clark something she hadn't had in a long time: space. Without the chaos of an Olympic schedule or the microscope of every possession on the global stage, she found room to breathe, recalibrate, and sharpen her edges. Away from the cameras, she stayed in the gym. The fire wasn't for the crowd, it was for herself. Fans didn't see every extra drill, every late-night film session, but they were happening, quietly, consistently. Elsewhere, former NBA guard Jeff Teague wasn't so quiet. "They played this all wrong," he said bluntly. Teague believed the WNBA had fumbled a golden opportunity. Clark had brought sellouts, surging merchandise sales, and booming social media engagement, yet her "welcome to the league" felt cold. Hall of Famer Rick Barry went even further. The physicality Clark faced, he said, wasn't just hard, it was personal. "It's reprehensible," he declared, noting this wasn't the standard rookie treatment. Coming from a man who played in an era when hard fouls were the norm, the criticism hit hard. His concern wasn't only the contact, it was the league's silence. If stars aren't protected, he warned, what message does that send? Through it all, Clark never lashed out. No theatrics, no angry sound bites, just focus. And gradually, the tide began to turn. Teammates stood taller. Rivals took note. The silence that once felt like rejection began to hum with a different kind of tension-anticipation. Because now, this isn't just about packed arenas or TV ratings. Caitlin Clark is becoming a force that basketball can't ignore. And as her game keeps speaking, the quiet nods from legends are starting to sound less like whispers and more like prophecy. Michael Jordan's voice carried that prophecy further. His words about Clark weren't casual, they were a torch passed. "She's got that fire," he said. "The kind that scares people." He even claimed she was better than every player on the 2025 U.S. Olympic team. But Jordan wasn't talking about scoreboard dominance, he meant the fear she inspires in those who see her success as a threat. Not inspiration. Coming from a man who spent his career silencing doubters, his advice was clear. Tune out the noise, stay locked in, and let your game do the talking. For Jordan, this wasn't a pep talk, it was a blueprint. He knew exactly what it meant to be doubted, targeted, and turned into a symbol. And in Clark, he recognized that same rare fire. She's not only earning respect from the past, she's capturing the attention of the present. Steph Curry, often compared to Clark for her limitless range and lightning-quick release, sees more than a shooter. "The shot gets the headlines," Curry said, "but the floor game, that's what makes her the real deal." Coming from a four-time NBA champion who redefined modern basketball, that's not flattery, it's recognition. Both are showmen, both are strategists, and both are revolutionaries in sneakers. Admiration for Caitlin Clark didn't just live in interviews, it went public on the court during the historic NBA vs. WNBA three-point shootout, where he narrowly edged out Sabrina Ionescu. The idea of Clark stepping into that same spotlight, maybe even going head-to-head with Steph himself, no longer feels like a dream. She's been asked, and while she's declined, for now, she's left the door open. The basketball world is holding its breath for the day it happens. That anticipation only fuels the question. Now echoing from sports panels to social media, is Caitlin Clark carrying the WNBA? The numbers make a strong case. TV ratings once stuck in the shadows are now dominating primetime. Arenas that struggled to sell out playoff games are packed for regular season matchups. Brands that never touched the league are scrambling to sign deals. Private jets, national campaigns, viral highlight reels, everything seems to orbit around one gravitational pull. Caitlin Clark, Magic Johnson, a man who knows what it means to transform a league, didn't hesitate. She's done for the WNBA what Larry and I did for the NBA, he said, recalling how he and Larry Bird didn't just play, they saved the league. Now Clark's impact is being measured on that same scale. Her peers may not have expected this kind of spotlight, but they're benefiting more exposure, more investment, better conditions. And yet, the response from some inside the league has been lukewarm, even hostile. The criticism, the hard fouls, the cold shoulders there. Hard to ignore. Is it competitiveness, insecurity, something deeper? Whatever it is, it hasn't slowed her down. If anything, it's pushed her further. For Caitlin, this isn't about being like tits, about legacy. She's not asking to be the face of women's basketball. She's simply becoming it. Every shot, every court, every headline raises the stakes. Whether the league embraces her or resists her, the shift is already happening. The game is catching up to Caitlin Clark. There's an old saying, in basketball, game recognizes game, and Clark now stands in that rare air where legends start speaking her name. Not long ago, she was just a college phenom, flooding timelines with highlight after highlight. Now, it's about more than potential, it's about undeniable impact.